Hello students, I am Preeti ma'am and I am going to teach you chapter 1 Nutrition in Plants. The topics that we are going to cover are definition of heterotrophs, different kinds of heterotrophs and replacing nutrients in the soil. Heterotrophic nutrition in plants. Students, have you ever seen plants that are not green? Plants that do not have chlorophyll cannot carry out photosynthesis. Then, how do you think they obtain their food? These plants depend on other plants for food. So, a mode of nutrition in which an organism obtains food from other organism is called as heterotroph. Hetero means others and tropos means feeders. Means those animals which feed on others, they are called as heterotrophs. Animals and non-green plants, they are the examples of heterotrophs. Heterotrophs are of different kinds. They can be either parasitic, insectivorous, saprotrophic, etc. Parasitic plants. A parasitic plant lives on or inside another living plant. It obtains nutrition from other plant called the host. The parasite is sent special feeding tubes into the phloem. Phloem is the food conducting tissue of the host plant and steals its nutrients. And this harms the host. This always harms the host. So the parasitic plants are those plants which get the nutrition from other plant which is called as host, and the host plant is always affected. Misto, I have taken the picture of it, but I'll explain you first what type of plant is this, and I'll then explain with the figure. Misto and Dodder, these both are the parasitic types of plants. You can see over here the Misto. It is growing on the plant. The mistletoe grows, it does not grow on the soil. It does not grow on the soil. Therefore, although it has green leaves and it carries out photosynthesis, it depends on the host plant. This is the host plant. You can see over here this plant. And it depends on its host plant for water and minerals. Why? Because its roots are not there. It is not touching the soil. So it depends on the host for for water and minerals. One more example of parasitic plant is the dodder plant. You can see over here, this is the dodder plant which is growing. The other name is cuscuta. Here, it does not carry out photosynthesis. Why? Because it is not green in color. Then what does it do? It wraps its thin stem around the host, as you can see over here, and sends out finger-like tubes, and it gets the ready-made food from it. One more example of parasitic plant is the Rafflesia. Other name of it is corpse lily. It is world's largest flower. It has no leaves, no shoot, no roots, nothing. It is only a flower. It grows completely inside the host plant. This flower, the Rafflesia, it can grow over 100 centimeter wide, and it smells like a rotting meat. See, what a bad smell. And this stink, it attracts the flies and the beetles, which help to pollinate the flower. This is the Rafflesia flower. Next heterotrophic plant is the insectivorous plants. Animals like frogs, the lizard, they stick out their tongue to catch the insect. You might be knowing that. But there are some plants that eat insects too. Do you know that? Why do they eat insects then? Because some plants, these plants, they grow in soil that is poor in certain important nutrient like the nitrogen. Therefore, though these plants have green leaves, they do not get the nutrient properly. The proper nutrient, they do not get it. So they need the extra nutrient. And these extra nutrient they get from the insect. So these are called as the insectivorous plants. Some of the examples are the pitcher plant, the sundew plant, and the Venus flytrap. This is a pitcher plant. The leaf of the pitcher plant, it forms a jug-like structure which has digestive juices inside. Once the insect lands on the pitcher, it is trapped. It cannot come out and it gets digested, and the pitcher plant gets the nutrition from the insect. This is the sundew plant. It has a sweet, sticky drops on the leaves. As it is sweet, the insects, they are attracted, and once they are attracted, it is sticky, so the insects, it gets stuck to it and it is trapped. And when an insect lands on the leaf, it is trapped, and the leaf then it curls up over the insects, it folds itself, and it digests the insects. This is the Venus flytrap. It has hinged leaves with sensitive hairs. You can see over here sensitive hairs on the inner side. When an insect lands on the leaf of the Venus flytrap, the two halves of the leaf, they snap shut, it closes. And once it closes, the insect is trapped inside, it is not able to come out. And Venus flytrap plant, it takes the nutrition from the insect. Saprophytic nutrition. Have you ever students noticed mushroom growing on old tree bark? Organisms like molds and mushrooms, they are the fungi. Singular, we call it as fungus. They do not have chlorophyll. They are not green in color. Then how do you think they get the food? Fungi, it gets its nutrient from dead and decaying matter. They release some digestive juices on the dead material and break it down to a liquid and absorb the nutrients. This kind of nutrition is called as saprotrophic or saprophytic nutrition. Fungi, originally we think it as to be a non-green plants, but now we come to know that there are many fungi which are green in color, and they are placed in the group of their own. They have their own group. Symbiotic relationship. In this whole living world, there is a constant struggle for nutrients. Like we studied about the parasitic plants, the dodder, the mistotia, the rafflesia, some insectivorous plants, some saprophytic plants. There is a constant struggle for nutrients. But there are some organisms which form partnership with others to obtain nutrients. So this kind of interaction, in which organism they live together close to one another and help also each other, is called as symbiosis. The form partnership with others and obtain nutrition. So this type of interaction in which organisms live together or close to one another and help each other in some way or the other is called as symbiosis. A good example for symbiosis is a lichen, lichen, lichen. It looks like a plant, but it is made up of algae and fungus. In this relationship, how do they help each other? Alga, it prepares the food through photosynthesis because it is green in color, and it provides to the fungus. And we studied earlier, fungus are non-green in color. Then what does fungus do for the alga? This fungus, it fixes the alga to the surface. It gives the surface to the alga, and it provides it with minerals and water. See how they are helping each other. One prepares the food and gives it to the fungus, and the second gives water and mineral salts to the alga. See how they are helping each other. And see, you can see over here a lichen that I explained you just now. And lichens are natural indicators of air pollution. I mean to say, these cannot survive in the air that is dirty. So if you see any lichen growing in your neighborhood, you can say that the air around you is not polluted, it is clean. Now, replacing nutrients in the soil. You know that plants absorb minerals from the soil. You know that. As a result, the nutrient content of the soil keeps on decreasing. Plants, they need nitrogen in large amounts. Why? To prepare the proteins. Although more than three-fourths of the atmosphere is made up of nitrogen, but the plants cannot use it directly from the air. They need the help of some bacteria that live in the soil. You can see over here. This is a symbiotic relationship. I explained you. Symbiotic relationship means what? It is a relationship between the rhizobium bacteria and the leguminous plant. And leguminous means what? Plants of pea and bean family, which help to replenish or fulfill the soil with nitrogen naturally. The leguminous plant, it provides food for the bacteria which live in the roots of the plants, and they form the nodules or small lumps, as you can see over here. And the bacteria, what does it do? The bacteria in return converts the nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen, in a form that the plant can use. So many farmers, they grow leguminous plant after one crop to replenish the soil with nitrogen. They do not have to add manure or nitrogen fertilizer to the soil to improve its nutrient content. Thus, we end up the chapter over here. So, what is the sum up? What did we study in the whole of the chapter? Just revise once again in brief in 2 minutes. Nutrition in plants is of two types. You know that, autotrophic and heterotrophic. Green plants which make food by photosynthesis it is called as autotrophics. Chlorophyll, sunlight are essential for photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide and water are raw materials required. Carbohydrates, oxygen are produced at the end of photosynthesis. Parasitic plants, they take up nutrients from other plants. They are the example of heterotrophs. Saprophyte or saprophytic organism, they feed on dead and decaying matter. Symbiotic organism have a relationship where they benefit each other. And we also studied about insectivorous plants which carry out some of the insectivorous plants can carry out photosynthesis, but they feed on insects because the soil in which they live is poor in some nutrients. Thus we end up over here. Bye bye for now, students.